Hey, my name is Stu, and I just wanted to make a quick intro video discussing the ideas behind what I'm going to at least start or attempt to do regarding hypermiling. So it's by no means coming from the perspective of an expert, just the sort of anecdotal accounts of things that I've gleaned over the last 6-7 years of hypermiling. So for those people that don't know that or haven't heard that word before, it's pretty much just employing certain techniques when you're driving to achieve better than EPA rated fuel economy for your specific vehicle. So for some vehicles, say you get 20 miles per gallon. The kind of rule of thumb that I say is that you should be able to achieve between 30 to 40% beyond that. So 3 to 4 miles per gallon for every 10. So for 20 it'd be 6 to 8 if you were going to use the hypermiling techniques, which is what sort of just a blanket term used to refer to things that are included underneath the umbrella of driving tactics. Also could be equipment, it could be vehicle selection, planning routes, all that sort of stuff. What this video is at least a way to outline kind of what I'm going to talk about over the course of several videos to come. Also, what you can expect, which I kind of already touched on, and the primary takeaway from everything is really just the gas mileage. But it's become a little more for me personally, as far as like seeing if you can always improve. It's kind of like anything else that you would consider a skill, something that you can get better at and achieve better results. And so this will give you kind of a baseline for going from, some really broad things to some very specific things, but hopefully independent of the actual vehicle you're driving currently or, the one you want to get or whatever. My intent was kind of to, introduce the idea via here, and then after that kind of go over my current one I'm driving, which is a 2010 Honda Insight. The other aspects which I was going to go over would be the physical parts of the car, which you need to take into account when you're driving. So since I'm already there talking about the vehicle, I would go over air conditioning, the tire inflation, the aerodynamic or the coefficient of drag, the equipment I use, which is really just a piece of equipment, which is the Scan Gauge 2, which is just an OBD2 computer parser. So it takes the information from the car computer and relays it into some digestible information. From there, then I was kind of intending to take, the drive as you would if you were, and regardless of time, distance, any drive that you would take. So you'd begin before leaving, determining what routes were available to you, and deciding what would work best. So I'm going to make a video regarding that and regarding things you should consider before you leave. Then moving on to a video regarding stopping and starting and what you have to consider with that. And one of the most important things, especially in city driving, where you can kind of negate a lot of the things, like you see a big discrepancy between city and highway driving, and most of that is due to the slowing down and speeding up, which is when gas is consumed the most in a typical gas-powered vehicle. So a video about that will probably be the bread and butter. Probably one on coasting, accelerating when you should take advantage of the terrain and increase your speed. What speed you should try not to go over is a general rule for your threshold, when the wind resistance is going to negate any benefits you might be getting by that extra speed. Also, depending on what kind of vehicle you have, which this one may be where it departs from the applicable to all vehicles situation. But if you drive something that's a manual transmission, then you have some other considerations and a little bit more freedom in how you can operate your vehicle. There's also a good bit of turning, which we'll get into conservation of momentum, with something that's 1 ton, 2 tons approaching several thousands of pounds, then your momentum is going to be a significant portion of how you can conserve fuel, as it's going to require less work to speed back up if you never bleed the speed. If you never bleed the speed in the first place. Also, driving in traffic, I think it's never really talked about, and just because there are so few people that hypermile, it's not an issue, really. You know, they're just you'll get a reputation for being kind of a slow driver and stuff, and that can bring in some courtesy concerns, especially if you're in heavy traffic or in traffic that requires a certain driving style to not be dangerous. And then lastly would be the parking and storage of your vehicle, kind of taking into consideration how long you're going to have to sit there, if the engine is going to remain warm, what your parking options are, and then what the best option of those would be for you to pick. So I mean, that's all I've actually outlined. I'm sure maybe along the lines I'll think of something else and try and squeeze that into one video or another, but I'll try and make them digestible little pieces, you know, no more than maybe like 3 to 5 minutes, I'm hoping, per video. So that's my plan, and I'm gonna have some help filming and try and also get some feedback on what people think is most beneficial and helpful to them, and what sorts of changes in format or content that would like to be seen. That's about all I wanted to go over. And then please, if you listen to the list of topics, if there was a topic that you think is worthy of note or considering to throw into a video, just go ahead and comment, leave that below, and I am definitely not opposed to checking that out. This is just sort of whipped up quickly from what I thought would be pretty relevant. So thanks for your time. Subscribe if you want.